Disney did something pretty groundbreaking this weekend. And I have a theory on why they did it, and I'll get into that in the end. But the figures for Black Widow are out, and they actually released the Disney Plus figures as well, because this is available on Disney Plus Premier Access for $30. That $30 rental fee, they did it for Mulan, they did it for Raya and the Last Dragon, and I think this is the third one they've done it for. I think this is only number 3 that they've done it for, because Artemis Fowl obviously was free. Jungle Cruise is coming up in a couple weeks.
Why did you say that name?
Everybody did. Jungle Cruise is in a couple weeks. They're doing the Premier Access thing with that as well. I don't think this one's going to be grossing no $60 million on Disney Plus, but that's right. Black Widow made $60 million on Disney Plus while debuting to $80 million domestic at the box office in America. That rounds it to a total, even in factoring overseas, it made $218 million opening weekend, including Disney Plus subscriptions. So if you want to factor in that $218 million weekend, Disney Plus accounted for 27% of the opening weekend, which is significant. More than a quarter of the opening weekend was thanks to Disney Plus. And if you want to break down the math even further, God bless Hollywood Reporter, they did it for me. That means there's 103 million subscribers to Disney Plus. That means about 2 million footed the bill for the $30 fee to watch Black Widow. And I actually went to the bar on Friday night, truthfully, after seeing Black Widow, writing the review and eating dinner. I went to the bar, and I was talking to the bartender a little bit, who I'm good friends with, and she was even saying she's a wife and she's a mother of 2 kids, and she was saying how she was going to rent it off of Disney Plus because for her husband, and her 2 kids to watch it, $30 is a bargain versus a trip to the movies, to which I can't argue with her. And I think a lot of people had that rationale with Black Widow. And this is the thing, they don't release these numbers often. This is the first time a major studio has released these numbers. Now, HBO Max, it's trickier with Warner releasing them because they're the movies that are in theaters in conjunction with being released on HBO Max, like Space Jam: A New Legacy coming up. You had also In the Heights and The Conjuring, Devil Made Me Do It. You don't have to pay extra for those on HBO Max, so it's kind of hard to talk. You can't really decipher figures on that outside of watches and viewers. But with this, they didn't release it for Mulan and they didn't release it for Raya opening weekend, and they did it for this. Now, my suspicion to that, and I'll throw it over to you, here's why I think they did it. I don't expect this going forward. I don't think we're going to get the Jungle Cruise figures opening weekend. I really don't. I don't even know how well that thing's going to do, truthfully. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if anybody else is, but the thing being, though, is I think why they did it, this is just my assumption, take out the $60 million that it made on Disney Plus, and that's about a 160 round up, $160 million opening weekend. Dude, 200 million sounds better than 160 million.
Yep.
That's why I think they did it. I think they did it because it pushed them over that $200 million threshold. It's the highest grossing opening weekend in America since the pandemic began.
Yep.
I think that's why they did it, personally. It helped them, and it made them look even better. It made going back to Black Widow, my review, it made a good performance look great.
Yeah, they wouldn't release those numbers if they were meager. If it was like, 8 million, I don't think they would have done that. And I wonder if, like, let's say it made more in theaters, but significantly less on the streaming service, would they still do, like, let's say it's 192 in the theaters, made up numbers, but it was like 8 million in streaming. Would they still release those numbers? I don't know. Maybe not. But 60 million, that looks really good for your streaming service. That puts you over that 200 million. It saves your face on Black Widow because that movie kept on getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. It's the first female-led Marvel movie, I believe.
No, Captain Marvel.
You're right. Thank you.
Everybody forgets Captain Marvel, yeah.
I'm forgetting. Honestly, like that just goes to show you how out of the loop I am in terms of the Marvel.
Well, if you want to go back, there was Elektra. There was Elektra too.
Okay, shut the hell up. But yeah, it just looks good all around, and I don't think they needed any, but there's been speculation, completely unfounded, but there's been speculation like, oh, did Scarlett Johansson's people or whatever want to put those numbers out? I'm like, I don't even think you needed to do that. I think Disney wanted those numbers out because it looks damn good. Um, and it's like, honestly, since yeah, I think A Quiet Place Part Two was the post pandemic champion before. But now it's clearly in Disney's court, and it looks damn good right now. So yeah, damn good.
For sure. And I also think too, the other thing that's been underreported, and I think it's because, Disney was like, here's how much we made on Disney Plus. All the box office pundits went nuts and all the media was like, oh my God, look at this. The thing that's being underreported here, and this may be nothing, I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see how it performs in its second weekend, given Space Jam is coming out as well as Escape Room. Not that that's going to challenge Escape Room 2 is not, but I just think I'm curious to see how it performs. But the other thing, though, is that this is being underreported. The Friday to Saturday drop for ticket sales for Black Widow was steeper than any Marvel movie yet.
Really?
From Friday to Saturday, it was down 41%. And that, I think, might have been, I don't know if it would have been the headlining story, but it would have definitely been a bigger story had they not released those Disney Plus figures. It really doesn't matter because the damn thing did great at the box office and on streaming. I think a lot of people were projecting it to gross 90 million opening weekend, but it's still a pandemic to begin with, and this thing is on Disney Plus. So I think that 80 million is still nothing to sneer at for a movie like this. No. But that I read that in the Hollywood Reporter, though, is that it dropped 41% from Friday to Saturday, and you're not hearing that. That's the steepest Friday to Saturday drop, because usually it's not a drop. Usually it's up.
Right.
Usually it's up or a slight drop.
In a traditional
41% drop.
Yeah, in a traditional market, in a traditional landscape, yeah, certainly, particularly for an Avenger movie, not Avengers, but it stars an Avenger. I'd definitely be doing that. But in the post-pandemic world, the rules are it's still COVID rules here.
For sure,
half wearing that mask, half not. No one knows what to do really, and apparently neither do moviegoers because they'll flood it on opening. Honestly, it's all the nerds. It's all the freaking nerds, dude. They all come out on Friday, and it's like, all right, that was it. I'm good. And then now those nerds have families. It's like, you know what? We missed the opening day, so let's just buy it on Disney Plus. It's $30. We could justify it, just like your friend said. And I honestly, that line of reasoning does make sense. So.
It makes a ton of sense. I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, and then not to mention too, $30, like if you have a family of 4, that factors into what? $7, $8, about $7, $7.50 a person, give or take some change. And then like you have the privilege, you don't have to buy snacks, and you have the privilege of pausing.
Dude,
which you do not have. And that's a luxury.
As someone who has the ability to pause a movie, go to the freaking bathroom and not have to like deal with that. It's like, oh no, torture scene on screen, and I'm going to be right there with you because I'm torturing my bladder right now. And it's like,
yep.
God damn, that was, dude. When I started watching movie, when the pandemic hit, I'm like, damn, I don't really do this that much for like big premiere. Obviously, I watch movies at home, but big premiere movies, it was so weird, like a revelation. We can cook our own popcorn and stuff. We can do the good popcorn and butter it just the right amount instead of drenching it. And dude, again, not to bemoan the actual theater experience, but it works for some people, and I think just in the same way that people are returning to the office, people are not going to let go of working from home, or at least they're going to try their damned hardest to not let go of that